What did you say? Flagpole.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
No! You're a wizard, Harry.
In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you.
And I care! What is the deal?
No, do me a favor, Captain. Go fuck yourself.
Language.
Why so serious?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm vengeance.
Avengers! Assemble.
Welcome back to That's So Random, the most random podcast on the internet. I'm Braden, and joined with me today is the man that's been there for all these X-Men movies, Darren McClemens from the Pipeline Podcast. And this is the last one before Deadpool and Wolverine. How's it going?
This is the last one. I can't believe it. We made it.
It's unbelievable. We literally got this, and then Deadpool and Wolverine, and we're up to date with the X-Men.
Absolutely. It's been a wild ride for sure.
Yeah. So something I kind of want to do with New Mutants. First of all, this is labeled as a horror, and I'm pretty sure that's the only X-Men that's been a quote-unquote horror film, which is pretty cool. But I think this was PG-13, so I guess they couldn't do like a ton with that.
It was.
So yeah, if the studio let it be rated, or maybe they could have done more with that and made it a bit cooler. But something I do want to do with this film to start with that we haven't done with any of the others is just talk about the scores real quick. So, because the scores like everywhere are low. On IMDb, it's a 5.3 out of 10. And Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is 36%, which I guess really isn't terrible because, I mean, critics gave Batman v Superman like a 28%. You know, what do I know? And the audience score is a 56%. I feel like that's probably a bit more fair.
That's fair.
And then, dude, this movie is rated a 2.1 on Letterboxd with 217,000 ratings. That's very low.
It is very low, but it kind of makes sense to me. Like, I remember at the time this movie just got shitted on. Like, people were like, "This is the worst thing to ever be made," and like. I think a big part of that was just because of like COVID. Like, I think people wanted to get back to like the superhero movies, and this was like one of the only superhero movies that year. That and like Wonder Woman 1984, which, you know, another one people really didn't like, and I think it was just kind of like
some DC
and also
animated movies came out that year. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, so one that I think more people saw than
I love that
typically
movie.
see.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Sure. And also, I think it was also a big thing of like, you know, and I bet you're going to get into this as we kind of go along, but it also took so long for this movie to come out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, its original
delayed like
date
4
was,
times.
It was. Yeah. Its original date was like 2017 and didn't come out until like spring of 2020. So like there was like 4 different pushbacks for it. And I guess the question for many was like, well, was it worth the wait? Was it? You know what I mean?
That's a hard question, but I mean, because I wasn't someone that was like necessarily looking forward to this movie, so like it didn't disappoint me in any way. But like, if you were really looking up to this movie and had high expectations for it, you might have been a little disappointed. Yeah, I can look at this movie with an objective eye, not to spoil how I actually feel about the film.
Yeah.
But and notice its flaws for sure.
Sure. It's really funny though, also just like retrospectively, like we're having a lot of kind of stuff like that now with comic book movies, especially with Blade, where this got pushed back 4 years, and that's pretty insane. But like Blade's been pushed back for almost 5 years now, and they don't even have a script. You know, like that kind of stuff is crazy.
I almost feel unfair for saying this, but like can they make a better Blade movie than they've already did with Wesley Snipes, like with the first 2 Blade movies? Because from what I remember, those are really good. I should rewatch them soon.
Yeah.
I mean, if this movie ever gets made, maybe we can watch them before
sure.
the other Blade one. Maybe I'll do that for the show. But
I haven't seen 3065
before. Whenever the new one comes out, but yeah, that's the question. Like, can they make a better Blade movie? Because like, if they can't, what's the point of it? Sure. Well, not necessarily even better. I guess they can just do a different flavor that's on the same level, and that would be fine. But if you're not going to offer something different,
Yeah,
or a better quality, there's no point of spending all
sure.
that money on the movie. But I don't know. They probably spent a lot of money already from whatever they may have filmed or scrapped, or I don't know.
I,
Have they even started filming?
they never got to the filming state.
Oh
It's just
Lord,
been
yeah.
trying to get
So this movie
director,
might just
trying to
get
get.
scrapped eventually.
Yeah, they. And not to get way off track of New Mutants, but like just today, Kevin Feige was like, "Well, I know there's been problems, but we're just trying to take our time with it and make the best movie we can." And it's just like, all right, whatever. Just I don't know.
Yeah,
I just can't get excited for it when you're like push back again and again and again. Like why should I care? I'll just wait to care until you give me something real.
I will say the Blade movies, probably the best superhero horror movies I've seen. I
Mm,
can't think of many superhero horror movies or comic book horror movies, I guess. I guess Joker, you could consider a horror.
yeah, I guess Swamp
If
Thing. I haven't seen those, but like
I've
Swamp
not
Things.
either. If you
Yeah, I
consider
mean that.
Joker, Joker's probably the best. But if you don't, I guess Constantine you could maybe consider a horror, which I kind of want to
Sure.
rewatch that sometime. If they are, I feel like Constantine 2, they say it's still in development, but will
Yeah.
we actually ever get that movie? Maybe, because I think Keanu has said that that's the role he wants to revisit the most, which that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But hey, make that an Elseworlds thing. And James
Yes.
Gunn.
Yes.
James Gunn. Give us Matt Ryan as Constantine, sir,
Give us
please.
Matt Ryan. Yeah. I don't think you can get any better than Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's
You
like
can't, man. Like,
he's
I'm
like
down to let
J.K.
Keanu
Simmons
do his
as.
thing, but like, we're gonna have two Batman. I don't see why we can't have two Constantines. Make it
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan.
I agree. I
And he's already
I
been
will.
Constantine in animation and live action, so we know that works with him, and that's what they're doing in the
Oh yeah.
DCU. It just makes too much sense.
Yeah, no, like he like at this point he is like the like Kevin Conroy of Constantine. Like if you will. Like he had his own series and then he went to Legends and Arrow and stuff and then, he did the animated movies and then he did the Harley Quinn show and it's just like he's just that guy at this
Dude,
point.
in
Like
live action, he literally just looks like Constantine. Like, if you
it's
told me that
perfect.
was John Constantine in real life, I'd be like, yeah, you're not
Yeah,
bloody
it feels like
lying.
he it looks like he crawled out of the pages and was just like, well, I'm here now,
Literally.
guys.
Like, he
Crazy.
crawled out the
But
pages already smoking a cigarette.
it's great. Yeah, but no, like that's actually something I was kind of thinking about while watching the movie is I think like horror movie comic book films are such a rare genre of comic book movie. Like there's
Yeah, that's
or
why I'm
even just like
excited about Swamp Thing.
yeah,
Hopefully we
I
still get
agree.
that. I don't know if James Gunn has, like, given any updates to the development of that. I
We have
feel,
a director, but it's not
yeah,
in production yet.
okay.
So,
I think it's gonna be one
um
of the later ones, so that I guess that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
and I
but
was
it being
thinking
a horror is why I'm excited for that film, though.
I agree. I agree because I think there's a thing in the comic book space, especially within these last couple of years, that I've realized, and something I agree with, where obviously there's a conversation of like superhero fatigue with many. And I think when you're going into making a new superhero project, that's a movie, if that's a TV show, there's now a precedence of what are you going to do different than every other project that has come before, right? Like WandaVision was like a sitcom type of thing. Like you have Joker, which is a very different kind of like not even like a superhero movie, right? So you had like the Batman is like a crime thriller, right? So I feel like each of these movies are trying to have their own spin on it, and I'll say that's kind of like the one thing I actually liked about New Mutants is it feels so drastically different to anything the Fox movies had done before. Like there is like if you like this movie, you don't like this movie. It is different than every single one of the X-Men movies. It just plain and simple it is.
Yeah, it's definitely the most, like, basic of the films too, because it literally takes place one place, other than unless
Mm-hmm.
you count Magic's little universe,
Sure.
whatever she can go into. Limbo, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. It feels like a
Which
COVID
I feel
movie.
like they stole that from Inception, but I that's just what I
Yeah.
think of when people mention Limbo. It's Inception.
It like definitely felt like a COVID film, which it was a COVID film, but it wasn't filmed in COVID. But like it felt like
When was the
what a
first
lot of
trailer for this movie? Wasn't it like 2017? I feel like I might have
yeah.
saw this before Logan or like right after I saw Logan. I'm like, what?
I can look that up,
Then it took like 3
but
years
like
for it to come out.
yeah, but like it felt like again, it's not a COVID movie. It was filmed way before COVID, but it felt like what a lot of directors of filmmakers were doing during COVID, where it's like, well, we're stuck in one room, let's make this work or whatever. Or like TV episodes where like, well, it's just two characters talking in a room for like an hour.
Yeah, that's literally all this movie is. It just takes place at was it like a rundown school, I guess? Is kind of well, not even rundown. It looked nice from the outside, but like inside, it
Yeah.
just gave major horror vibes because it was. They talk about full spoilers for this movie, by the way, but like towards the end, kind of midway through the second half, at least, they explain like more so what the facility was, or the main
Hmm.
character Bear Girl. I'm just gonna call her Bear Girl because I don't remember her name. I'm not gonna lie. But she like sees what they had done in that, and it was basically a mental hospital. Not that's what it was being treated as like an insane asylum almost. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
going on, bro? What are they doing to these mutants? I
Yeah.
feel like
I
that's so
and I,
tropey at the same time, though. I'm like, not entirely original, but they could have gone a worse direction than that.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's a really good um concept for a movie, right? I think like when you're on paper, you're like, all right, new X-Men movie, what do we have? And I think there's a really good thing where we're like, all right, it's an insane asylum and it's Breakfast Club meets X-Men, right? In like a weird way. And like I think that's a really good pitch. It feels different, it feels unique. But I definitely agree with you where the fact that it feels the most blandish X-Men movie that we've got. You know what I mean? It feels that like it lacks so much personality and flair that I think if was there would make this movie so much better.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so weird to me, the fact that Anya Taylor-Joy is in this movie, but I feel like she's easily the best part of it. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's just my bias for her, but I feel like she's great in everything she's in.
She is, but even her, like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, maybe it was just a character, but I did feel like there were some even lines from her that I was like, this, maybe they could have gone with another take, like maybe they could have done that again.
I don't know, she was
I
definitely written very poorly, so I don't know how much of her acting could have saved some of her character's moments because she's just being a straight up
Sure.
bitch
Oh,
for no
she's a
reason at
terrible person.
times. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
she's
Like, no matter your trauma in the past, like,
yeah.
there's no reason for you to be lashing out on others like this. Like, what is wrong with you? What are you insecure about? And I mean, you kind
And
of
it also felt
discover that.
weird because this look, I'll be honest, this is the only place I know the character of Magic. Like I haven't seen a lot of
Yeah,
I haven't read
same.
the comics with her or anything. But from my understanding, she isn't normally that like I don't know, I feel like from what comic fans I've heard, she isn't like a straight up like terrible person. Like she isn't just a full on racist or whatever she was in this movie. Um
Yeah, that was a bit
so
much.
so the first trailer, I just looked it up. First trailer came out October 13th, 2017.
It was,
So
yeah, it was 2017. That's insane.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what I saw that before. Maybe Thor Ragnarok is what I saw it before.
Sure. That was around that time.
Yeah, so Jonathan from Stranger Things is in this movie, and he was like a miner, and he killed his dad and most of his crew because I don't
Yeah.
even know what his power necessarily was. Like
Was he the spinning guy or was he the fire guy? He was the
he was
spinning guy.
the
Yeah,
yeah
he was the
spinning
spinning guy.
guy because Roberto was the fire guy, and he like
Yes,
burned
yes.
one of his girlfriends alive. I guess is what he said. I'm like, holy crap, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I think his character, from what I understand, is Scott's brother, one of Scott's brothers in the comics. I was looking it up afterwards. I was like, who are these characters?
Oh,
So yeah, that's
interesting.
Cannonball, if I remember
Cyclops'
correctly.
brother, huh?
Yes. Cyclops's and what's the other brother's name? Uh
Alex
yeah, the one from
Havoc.
the Havoc, yes, from First Class. Yeah, so we got to see all three brothers here, which is kind of cool. If they, I don't know, that could have been, I don't know, maybe if they wanted to do literally anything with Scott in these movies, maybe that could have been a fun little movie. It was like Scott and his two mutant brothers or whatever.
What did you think of the smiling man? So that's like Magic's big fear
Mm,
or whatever. Well, should we
it
talk
looked
about Donnie's power or Danny's power first before we get into
sure.
that?
Go ahead.
Just because it relates to the smiling man and how he's there in the first place. So her powers are, and I like how they try to hide it and make it like a big reveal in the movie, even though it's obvious from
Yeah,
the get go. Like when
it's
you
yeah,
see
it's
everyone's fear coming to life, it's like, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know my power." It's like, huh, everyone's spirit would randomly come to life once she arrived. I wonder what her power is. So yeah, her power is bringing everyone's fear, or I guess in some cases, their quote unquote inner demons alive.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah, that
I did they ever like really explain this Smiling Man? Because I don't really understand like why she was so terrified of it. Like, was that representing an abusive father, or like what was this?
sure. I feel like, and that might just be another issue I kind of had with the movie, is I wish we could have spent a little bit more time with these characters. Like and I get it's a movie, and a movie like this you don't have a lot of time, but like I don't know, like I feel like I want to care. Like I'm so close to caring about some of these characters. I feel like I'm on the edge of it, but I need to know more. I need to spend a little bit more time. I want to see them bond a little bit. And yeah, like there's even like certain scenes in the movie where she's like starting to like we're starting to see a little bit of her past or whatever. There's that scene where she's like a child, right? And she's like cuddled up again with her stuffed animal, whatever. I'm like, I want to see what she's going through. And that actually might be one of the reasons why she's such a hated character, is because like we get the bad side of her, but we don't necessarily get to see a lot of why she is that way. You know what I mean? Like, why is she such a bitch? You know?
Yeah. So this is a
So
horror movie. Did you have a like favorite horror sequence in this movie? I think I know what mine is.
I really liked the pool scene when
Yes,
you
that's
just
mine.
like
The pool
okay, when
scene,
you just
yes.
have the fiery man, and
With
that's
the
actually a
burnt
really good
corpse.
twist. Yeah, I actually thought
And
it
he
was a
thought it
really
was,
good twist.
yeah, he thought it was Yana magic. And
Yeah.
I was like, what? I don't know if they made abundantly clear like why he was seeing that, but maybe I just didn't
hmm
catch it. But no,
Um,
nonetheless, like it was a pretty good choreographed
it was a cool
scene.
scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked I actually kind of like he Roberto reminded me a lot of like Rogue in this movie, and like a lot of what she goes through was like
Oh, that's true.
I can't be with someone because of my mutant abilities. It hurts the person. And I guess that's why maybe that's why he was saying it. Like his inner demons, his biggest fear is like I can't be with somebody. Like I can never have a true connection with somebody. And he was kind of able to in this weird little scenario for a second. But yeah, I don't know. Like I know a lot of people don't love this version of Sunspot too much, just in terms of like comic book counterpart, like that was going around a lot during like the X-Men 97 stuff. But like,
Well, I mean, he doesn't get a
yeah,
ton in this movie, so
no. And again, like none of them really do. Like again, like I
yeah.
want
So
to
it's
love
kind
these
of hard.
characters
It's
more.
kind of hard to hate or love them because they don't really like.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they make you hate any of these characters, but they don't really give you enough to like you're saying, get super attached to them. It's like,
I
yeah,
think this would have worked
I guess I know their backstories, but like,
lately.
I
Yeah, the
feel like I
little
don't know as much about their personality and their traits as the film wants me to.
hmm I think this probably would have worked better as like a one season TV show, just like an 8 episode thing or whatever. Which obviously wasn't a thing back then, not
Along the
really, but
lines of
like
Riverdale, huh?
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, kind of in lines with like what Gifted did. They were just had like over that first season was like a really well done one season arc of just learning about the characters and where they're coming from, and like the different POVs of different characters and stuff like that. But no, yeah, I'd say that's probably my biggest issue is I wanted to learn more about these guys.
What did you think, just keeping with the inner demons and the fears that were brought to life,
hmm
the Reverend? Also, when did this happen? Because this had to happen before, right? Because she already had the W on her back, and then she got the W
Mm,
again. And I'm like, wait, how did this happen without Danny? Like, how did that take place to begin with? Well, I guess in real
sure.
life, right? Like the actual
Mm,
Reverend probably did that to her, and then the demon form of
yeah.
the Reverend did that to her. That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, like I would imagine that like she was probably at a place where they thought she was a demon or they thought she
Yeah,
was like a
which
witch or whatever. Yeah, which which is actually really funny because
I never think
um
about that kind of stuff because like they're only implying it. They don't really show us that, or
sure,
maybe they told us in like a line of dialogue that I missed, but like I don't know, that's such a big part of the character that you're not telling me about. And this isn't like Batman or Spider-Man where I know the character already. You don't need to go over that. This is a
sure.
character I've never freaking heard.
Yeah,
So like I would like some backstory, which they give you some backstory, but not a lot at all. It's like, I guess I
Hmm.
have enough to work with in terms of this film and this film alone, but like, if you made
Yeah.
another movie with these characters, you're gonna have to like explain a lot more about them.
Sure. Yeah, and like, that even goes into like the TV thing. I think it'd be cool. Like each episode have it be that character's episode. And you can like split the episode up within backflashes of like what happened to her, how did she get here, what's up with this like relevant, all these kind of fun things that you can dive into. But no, like Wolfbane, I think was her name, right? And I liked her. It's weird because I actually thought it was kind of funny because her and the actress who plays Jean's sister the actor who plays Jean in the other movies, the like younger Jean, they play sisters on Game of Thrones, and I thought it was really funny that they got both of those young actresses to be
Oh,
star in these Fox movies.
Sophie Turner and Maisie
Yeah,
Williams?
yeah. They play
Oh, okay.
sisters in the Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I should watch Game of Thrones. I should get around to that sometime.
Oh my gosh, that's a journey.
It's a commitment.
It is 8 seasons.
This movie, not as much of a commitment. If you ever have an hour
No,
and a half just free,
it's a
wouldn't make
really
for
short. Yeah, it's actually.
wouldn't make
Is
for
it one of the?
bad background noise, and every now and again there's a pretty good scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is this the shortest of these X-Men movies? Because it went by
Probably.
fast. It went by really fast.
I feel like
I was
most
just
of
like,
them are 2 hours, so
yeah,
if not more.
sure.
Well, have we even really talked about the plot? What was the plot? It was basically just the doctor was the villain, and she was like, "Hey, I'm training y'all to be X-Men," and then they're like,
Yep,
"Oh, you're not training us to be X-Men. You're training us to be murderers." And then
sure.
the doctor gets beat up really badly by the what was her name? The wolf girl?
Wolfbane was her like
Yeah,
code
she
name or
gets
whatever. Or,
she gets clawed a lot of times, and it was kind of satisfying
mm,
to see that because I just hated this doctor.
yeah,
I'm like,
she,
okay, first of all, you're just keeping a bunch of kids in prison. Second of all, you're sleeping on the job. Like, what? Third of all, who are your superiors? Because it seems like literally no one else is at this facility. And how
it,
can these mutants not just overpower and overtake you immediately?
like it's weird because I think it's implied that it's Xavier, but I don't think that's the case. Or if it is the case, Xavier doesn't know exactly what's going on at this hospital. Like maybe he's like, oh, okay, you're training them to be whatever, but then they're taking advantage of the system or
I
something.
feel like Mr. Sinister maybe would make the most sense, right?
That'd be fun.
Kind of giving me X-Men season 2 vibes almost.
Hmm.
X-Men the animated series. I guess I should
That'd be a
clarify that.
fun like if they had ever done a sequel to this movie, I think Sinister would have worked very well. Like
That
I
would have
think
been
he would have.
cool.
Yeah, which I will say I do wish it could have got a sequel because I think it could have only have got better with a sequel. Like I think we could have only expanded on these characters, let them go outside and have more environments than those four walls that they were stuck in within this movie. Grow, like let them have super suits and expand their powers. Like I think a sequel could have done this. If you wanted to like expand this into like a semi franchise, I would have been open to that if they would have got the chance.
Yeah. And it's like they beat the doctor and then they're like, "Oh, this isn't long enough to be a theatrically released film yet. We need to add
Yeah.
20 minutes on." So like the bear comes to life, which is Danny's
It is a cool
beer.
scene. Yeah.
It is cool, but I'm like, this just feels tacked on kind of because you already beat the actual villain of this. Now you're kind of making Danny look like the villain now.
She is for a second, yeah. I mean, maybe not the villain, but which like was all like that final third act was basically all the trailers. Like you had like all the trailer shots was Magic fighting the giant freaking bear, and it's like, hey, come watch our movie, guys, or whatever. Um, but no, I was actually thinking like the ending kind of reminded me a bit of Madam Web, where I end the movie, and I was like, that's kind of the movie I want to watch. Is how the movie ends. I want to see their journey continue in a sense. And it's like, well, you spent the whole movie getting here, and now it's over. So now what? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say there was a cool scene with the smiling man I failed to mention
Hmm.
earlier, but it's like when Anya Taylor-Joy she goes to limbo to that dimension,
Yeah,
and then like Roberto and Jonathan from Stranger Things are walking,
yeah.
and she just pops out and like kills
She's
three
like, see ya.
smiling men, And she like goes
Um,
to swing at like Roberto or something and notices it's him and he's just like, whoa. And I'm like, that would have been me. I would have been like, oh my god, she almost murdered me.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of like the smiley man, a smiling man, and like the giant bear or whatever, like I actually think this movie looks very good. Like as far as like the special effects and the makeup and stuff like that, like it's a very good to look at movie for the most part. Like there's some shots of the movie that do look kind of gray and kind of bland, but like I think for the most part in terms of like the like creatures and stuff that they use without it, I think it does look good.
This movie couldn't have had a high budget though, right? It doesn't look like a high budgeted movie at all.
No.
It looks
Especially
pretty
that
cheap.
back looked very 67 million. So not too bad.
And how much did it make?
I bet not much.
It made, oh my, yeah, okay, yeah, forget this
Box
was
office
2020, the
49 million.
pandemic. Yeah, 49
Yeah, it was
million.
yeah, it was like the first movie back, right? Like one of the first movies back in
Yeah, pretty
cinemas
much.
after
It was at
COVID.
least the first big movie back, I'm pretty sure. Or
Oh no,
relatively
yeah, no,
big
that was
anyway. Because it was
February of
like this.
2020.
It came out February? I thought it came out in like September or October 2020.
I thought it did too.
Maybe
I
like
thought it
I
yeah,
don't
that
know.
was
Maybe it had a
strange.
small release earlier in the year and then it actually came out later. Because I swear I saw that September, October. Because I saw it around.
Yeah, I thought
I
it was
saw
like
it like I
summer.
started this podcast literally like the weekend after I saw it because I'm like, oh yeah, the movies are coming back. Let's
Oh
start a
yeah, no,
movie
August
podcast.
28th, 2020. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That
okay,
makes more sense.
that makes a lot more sense.
Gotcha.
But yeah, is there anything else we can really say about this movie? Like, this
Yeah,
is gonna be
no,
a short
like
episode,
this.
but
Yeah, no, this was definitely one of them where I was done watching it and I was like, do I have much to say? Do I have like a lot of commentary on it? And you know what? I don't, but I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Like I think they tried something new. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. I think it's a very middle of the road comic book movie. It's not bad. This universe has had way worse, I thought. I also think they've had way better. So
oh, definitely.
and also I'm glad it exists. I'm glad that we have another movie in kind of this genre of superhero movies. And hopefully it's something that the MCU can look at and be like, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't, and maybe they can apply some of these elements to their own X-Men, whatever they're doing with the X-Men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. Like, this isn't a terrible movie. It can be kind of slow at times, but overall it's short,
Yeah,
and most of it's investing enough. There's just kind of a sense of wanting more because it doesn't.
sure,
I guess it supplies you with the tools you need to reach the destination of this movie, but it's like just as a franchise movie, it feels kind of weird if that makes any sense.
sure.
I feel like there could have been a lot more substance to it, really,
I
is the
agree.
main problem I have with it.
It also sucks that it was the last X-Men movie. Like I don't think that helps
That's
it at
true.
all.
Yeah, that's very
Like it
true.
being like, this is the one you ended on, guys, not Dark Phoenix, which I don't like, but
I was about to
Dark
say,
Phoenix
not to
or
spoil,
I mean,
not to
Logan would have been a
spoil
great
anything,
ending.
but
Yeah,
oh
Logan
yeah,
would have been,
Logan
I
would have
think, the
been
preferred
definitely,
final
definitely
chapter.
get rid of Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, or not even because I don't know. I don't know if I really need to rewatch this movie again.
No,
I wouldn't hate myself if I did under some circumstance, but I doubt I
sure.
ever do unless we talk about it again for a podcast or I do it for a video or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not terrible. I'd say it's worth watching if you've never seen it, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's definitely not like the most packed comic book movie ever or the most substantial. It's pretty simple. And like I said, it takes place in one location, so there's not a lot they could do. It makes sense why they had to, bring people's fears to life, things that aren't there, and like go into limbo and other dimensions and stuff like that. Because it's like, yeah, they literally can't leave the school. They are prisoners.
Yeah.
I
Crazy
guess,
stuff.
how many Smiling Men would you take on to
Oh
watch this
God.
movie again, Darren?
Uh, to watch it again? I mean, probably none. But if I'm going to apply to this, whatever, I guess a four smiling
Dang,
men.
four? Yeah, no, I'd agree with you on the Nun. I wouldn't take
Yeah,
on
none.
any.
If I have like if for the scale, I guess I'll pick four.
Okay, we can change the scale in terms of that. Just how many smiling men would you give this movie? 4 smiling men.
You know what, 4 or 5 smiling men. It's not bad, but it's okay. It exists. I think this is a movie that exists.
Yeah, I'd give it about 5 smiling men. It's all right. It's pretty good. Well, I s- good. I use the term good loosely. Like objectively, it's
Yeah.
not the best, but I liked it
In
enough.
terms of these
I don't feel like it's a
movies,
waste of
yeah.
time,
I
which
think
I know a
after
lot of
doing
people will
Dark
probably
Phoenix,
disagree on.
yeah.
But yeah, well, we'll be back next time with Deadpool and Wolverine. But soon after that, we're gonna be ranking all these movies too, all 14 X-Men movies,
Yes. I'm
including,
excited.
of course, Deadpool and Wolverine. So.
Of course.
Yeah. Darren, is there anything you would like to plug before we go?
Yeah, no, I mean, just check me out over on the Pipeline podcast every Thursday. I don't know when this is going up, but I think this week you'll be on the show and talking about some of our favorite superhero movies. And yeah, we're currently also planning our 100th episode, so some fun stuff over there.
Yeah, hopefully this will be up Monday or Tuesday before Deadpool
Cool.
and Wolverine, because I
Gotcha.
definitely want it up before that movie. But we'll see. And in the meantime, you can find this show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, at the Red Arrow on YouTube if you're not already watching it there. But yeah, until next time, that's been That's So Random.
Bye.